set them free. If they come back, it's meant to be. I'm not sure how many of you have actually heard this type of advice, so let me know in the comments. So set them free. If they come back, it's meant to be. I'm going to tell you why there is some truth in it, why I believe that advice is unhealthy if you want to build a healthy relationship, and I'm going to give you an alternative. The reason I think there is some truth in it is, yes, I am all for not clinging onto someone who isn't invested or explicitly says they actually need space. We can't force someone to be in a relationship, to stay in a relationship. So from that perspective, yes, we don't want to be controlling of someone's experience, of someone's needs, someone's desires. If they want to be free, if they are not committed to the relationship, if they are not invested enough and they actually explicitly tell you, I need space, then believe them. Let them have that space. There is nothing good that comes from trying to control someone into being in a relationship, forcing someone to be in a relationship. No good comes from that. And so from that perspective, yes, I get that. And I agree with that. At the same time, this is why I also believe it can be really harmful if you're trying to build a healthy relationship. If you're thinking about setting someone free because if it's meant to be, they'll come back, it implies that you're being passive, that you're going to wait for someone, that you're going to wait for them to potentially come back, because it's if they come back, and that's about them. But what do you want? Would you want to even continue the relationship if they come back? What do you choose to do if you knew that they weren't coming back? And so I believe we get to feel empowered in a relationship and not passive. It's not just what if they come back, and if they come back, it's meant to be. It's what do I want as well? What works for me? And am I okay with waiting for them to make up their mind to, for example, come back if it's potentially meant to be? That's a very personal question. I'm not saying waiting is disempowering, because for some people that's actually what they want. But it's more of the focus here. Is it about them potentially coming back, or me deciding that I'm okay with them having their space and potentially coming back? And yes, if they come back, all right, we can make it work again. But it's, what do I want? Am I okay to give it another chance if someone comes back? Do I choose to believe that it's meant to be if they do come back? Or do I choose to do something very differently? I'm saying this because what they decide to do is out of your control. You can clarify their intentions and decide your next steps. So there can be a conversation about what they intend to do, if there's even a chance they come back, if you've gone on a break or actually broken up. And you can also reflect on, what is it that I would want from this relationship or this breakup if you've broken up again? What do I want from this? And what am I okay to accept if they do come back? Am I okay to potentially continue the relationship? Am I okay with waiting and seeing if it's meant to be? That's a very personal question. And that's one that I would really check in with myself and ask myself what I want, so that it doesn't become only this passive energy of waiting for them, because that is out of your control. There's no guarantee they will come back. There's no guarantee it was meant to be if they come back. It's, if they come back, what do I choose to do? And so the alternative that I want to offer here is, when you hear that type of advice, why not see it this way? I will set them free if they're not willing to make the relationship work, if they're not committed, if they're not invested. So if they really want to be free, then I will let them be free, because again, nothing good comes out of trying to force someone into a relationship. And at the same time, I'm going to focus on what my next steps will be and what I want, regardless of the outcome. So what is it that I'm choosing to do? What is it that I'm willing to tolerate if they come back? And what do I choose to do in the meantime? If I do decide to set them free and see if they come back, what am I doing? Am I only waiting for them to potentially come back? Or am I choosing to do things that I decide to do, that I choose to do, that I consciously have decided that I will do instead of only waiting? So that's where you want to really distinguish between, am I being passive about this if I do set them free and I just wait? And does that empower me? Or can I look at it these two ways? Give that freedom if someone asks for that freedom, consciously knowing that that's what's best in a situation rather than trying to control something or someone, and turning that focus back to you and going, what do I want? And you can do this type of reflection through journaling, go on a walk, really check in with yourself when you do that type of thing. Because I know how hard it can sometimes be to set someone free and not know if they're going to come back, have that uncertainty. I know how hard it can be, especially if we really love someone and we had envisioned a life with someone. So even the setting free can really be hard. I know that. I can understand that. And I understand the idea of if they come back, it's meant to be. At the same time, I also see that passivity in that type of advice because it can be disempowering to you. Because what do you want? Well, if they come back, what do you choose to do? So I would focus more on what I want to do. What do I choose to do in this type of situation? And I'm going to repeat myself, but knowing that I can't force someone to be in the relationship. So what is it about me? What do I want? And that can take some time to get to the bottom of if you've never done it. So that's very normal. And at the same time, you'll see how empowering it is to go, hey, I'm also going to choose what works for me. And as hard as it can be, I do still give myself space to ask that type of question that's focused on me and not on them, because I cannot control what's going to happen on their side. And a relationship that thrives, a relationship that's healthy, a relationship that grows is a relationship that's comprised of two empowered individuals. Empowered meaning that as much as they think about the relationship, they're also aware of their own needs. So it's not just the other person, it's also what are my needs. So it's this two-way street. Is I'm not going to be only independent and only think about myself, and I'm not only going to think about the other and only think about their needs. I can have that mix of both. And so a healthy couple is able to do these two things, is able to consider someone else's experience, respect that experience, understand that experience, and check in with themselves individually and go, what works for me? That's how you set certain standards in the relationship. That's how you become more confident in yourself as well, more confident in a relationship if you choose to continue it. And you're not only in this waiting energy, in this more passive energy, but you're actually actively choosing what you want your relationship to be or your life to be.